bring up National Sales Director Roya Mattis, who is going to... blow your mind out of your head. And yes, as we would stand for Mary Kay, we will stand for Roya and honor her.
Thank you. Don't you love a forced standing ovation? I love a forced standing ovation. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, let me see if I can position this. Because we're going to bless a lot of people prayerfully at the same time. You guys, have a seat, have a seat, have a seat. You know, I wouldn't be anything if it wasn't for you, and I wouldn't be anything if I didn't start exactly where some of you are starting right now. Who's my brand newest people? My brand newest, yes, girls, this is like the timid spot. This is like, okay, the big spot. I'm dreaming, I'm excited, I'm looking forward to it. I'm freaking out. This is what I'm supposed to be doing? I don't know. Is it the best? I'm not sure. You know those doubts that we have. Is it the best product? I'm not sure. You know what the deal is that most people have nothing to even go for. And the fact is, whether you've been here a long time or a little time, whether you've been doing something for a minute or for 100 years, people care less about where you have been to where you are going. See, if I came up here as a national sales director and I had no enthusiasm and I was going nowhere, it's just a title. That's who you were. Most people want to hear about, but what's happening now? So when we all started, we started somewhere having no accolades behind us. So I want to encourage you, it doesn't matter where you are, it matters where you are going. So get clear on your vision. Even if you don't know exactly how you're going to get it, get a vision. When she's asking you what your goal is, you better know what your goal is. Because if you don't know what your goal is, nobody can wrap around their imagination with yours. No one can go anywhere because you're a parked car. So wouldn't you agree that this cosmetics is just a vehicle to attach a dream and to give somebody a pathway of opportunity to get there? If you're doing this business because you want to sell lipstick, you have missed out on a lot. If you recognize that skin is everywhere and you are a wise woman that has chosen something that can be for anybody at any point in their lives, and it's a non-discriminatory vehicle to give someone an opportunity to have what it is that they want, then that's something worth going for. And then you happen to pick something that's a product that is so world-renowned, that's best loved in the country, that has the best training program, that actually has a tribe people are aching for. You know, I've been traveling across the country since I became a national, meeting a lot of very powerful, very together, very amazing human beings. And everywhere I go, the number one thing that they are most envious of in what I do is that I get to have a tribe. A tribe of supportive, successfully minded women that are ready to take other people with them on the journey to success, because that is not the real world. The real world is, if I get that spot, nobody else can have it. Our world is, if I get that spot, now I can show you how to get it. There's a difference. And women ache for a community. And you have a community to offer, whether you're brand new or you've been in for 100 years. Welcome them into your community and into your vision. Today I want to share with you a couple of things. This is either your year-end power finish or your power start. So whatever business you may be in, whatever dream you may have, there's always a finish. And then there's always a beginning. And at any point you can choose which it is. Because guess what? Who you become in the process is really what it's about. And I think so often we attach to a calendar that someone else gave us that dictates whether or not we're going to race or whether we're going to pause. And every time you pause, you lose. And every time you race hard, you win. Because when we race, we discover things that we didn't do well that we need to tweak, or discover places we're a beast in and we didn't know it. Racing is a champion space to win. Racing is everything. So let's either finish strong or get a powerful start. Our new year happens to start in 5 or so weeks. It takes time to build momentum. That's another riff of success. People looking for success think often that if I do it right now and I pour it all out, I better see some results here. But they forget to see what the real results are, what they learned, where are their stepping stones, and what's the process that we're going through that's going to build the muscle to be able to attach more and greater to it. And so we stop short of our effort because we didn't get the instant gratification that we were looking for. It takes a good 3 months of consistent doing the right thing over and over and over again. Might not be what you want to hear, might not sound sexy, but can you build a muscle in one gym appointment? Can you birth a baby in 1 month of pregnancy? It takes time to make great things. But how many years do you want to start over and over again because it didn't happen in that 1 week, that 1 month, that one sit down and phone calls? And then we let years go by because we weren't willing to dedicate 3 months. Everything great in this world we get to live in right now happens with a push. I want you to think about babies being born. It's a push. Flowers through the ground. It's a push. Diamonds under pressure. Push. Muscles being built. You can't have it without a push. Everything great happens with a push. And you don't have to wait for a calendar deadline to tell you when to do it. You got to make the decision to be great today. So I want to take you back to not too long ago. It was a couple of years ago, as a matter of fact. And I had just left my very first large event outside of Mary Kay, which, by the way, Mary Kay's events, I've traveled everywhere. Premier. I paid a lot of money to go to some events, a lot. And I paid to go to the extra things. And what Mary Kay does on our top vacations, how they treat us, I was like, what? They don't have their act together at all. They don't, what? This is all I get for all that money? I get what I get with Mary Kay for free because I earned it, you know. I earned it. But the way that they treat us, you guys, nobody touches it. And I'm telling you, I paid $10,000 a person for my husband and I to go to some exclusive things. Nobody touches what they do for us. Nobody. Nobody. Get to the top directorship. That's a diversion. So I'm leaving this event. It's at the end of the event, and it was beautiful. We were encouraged to go and give more in the community. And I think that's beautiful. And it's something that I always am passionate about anyway. So after one night, he said, go out and do something great for homeless in our community, because there's a lot of homeless in that area. And so we intentionally were looking for opportunities, and there was an opportunity for me, and I did a lot of things. But when I left so tearful. And I just continued to cry over everything that I realized I didn't do for that person. When I left, I thought, gosh, I should have sent him in an Uber and paid for it. I should have called ahead to a hotel and gotten a hotel room for him. I should have paid for a night so he could have a shower and have room service delivered. I should have done all these things, and I spent a lot of the night sad and crying over regret of what I didn't do and thinking about this poor man on the streets. To the point where the next day, the event is over, and I get into an Uber, and tears are still rolling down my face of all the things I thought I should have done that I didn't do. And you know how you get weird divine appointments sometimes if you look for them? Well, my Uber driver happened to be a pastor. And I'm like, he's like, why are you crying? I'm like, this happened and that happened. I should have done this. I should have done that. And he goes, wait a second. You think you're being really holy right now by living in the past regret of what you could have done and should have done? He said, do you think that Jesus would have left all the people that he helped in any particular situation and beat himself up, thinking I should have gotten them more than fish, I should have gotten them vegetables too? Do you think that Mother Teresa could have helped as many people if every time she helped them, she thought about everything she didn't do for them over what she did do for them? Do you think that Gandhi could have done all the things that he did if he lived in the regret of what he didn't do? Do you think you can help as many people when you beat yourself up in the process? What do you think? No. That was major. It is not holy to live that way. What is centered and what is truth is that we do as much as we're able to do in the moment that we're in. And our job is to understand that who we were in that moment was all we were expected to do, was all we were capable of doing until the next moment come, if it was done with great intention, if it was done in pure heart, if it was done in a way that meant to do all you could do with the right backing behind it, of wanting to give, serve, etc., then who you were in that moment is exactly who you were supposed to be. Nothing more and nothing less, including the things you didn't do. Because the things we didn't do actually help build that person. Because wouldn't you agree that often what doesn't happen is what we learn more from than what does happen? Yeah. What we don't get as a child impacts us more than what we did get as a child. Isn't that crazy how we are? So everything that we do is exactly the way that it's supposed to be in that moment. And then we're to build upon it. And this is where the greats live. Presence and understanding that all that was supposed to happen did, and that they build upon what didn't, knowing that it was a gift in whatever did and whatever didn't happen. Who can feel me on this? Isn't that a total release? Yes. So we as women in particular, we are constantly wondering, am I enough? Aren't we wondering that? Am I enough to lead that person? Am I enough to go do that appointment? Am I enough to make $10,000 a month? Am I enough to make $100,000 a month? Am I enough to be debt-free? Am I enough to be a mother? Am I enough to be a girlfriend? Am I enough to be a spouse? Am I enough? And I'm here to remind you that all of your inadequacies are purposeful, and so are mine. All of your gifts, aligned with others' gifts, are purposeful. That if you can get really clear that if we can live a world that's about, instead of comparing and competing, but collecting, you have gotten in the space and the place to make your life incredible. Especially when you attach to a business like this, where you've got a tribe of the most incredibly minded, gifted, talented, loving, good-hearted, purposeful people that want to make a difference. Oh my gosh, the collection is insurmountable. So I want to remind you, you are enough. That your curves are enough. Your eye shape is enough. Your nose, the width of your face, the size of your breasts, the lift or lack of in your butt is enough. That there is going to be someone that addresses and attaches and needed your broken fingernail at that moment, and your lack of pedicure if that's what happened, or your mess up at that appointment was enough. And the more that you know you're enough, the more it gives permission to everybody else around you that they are enough too. And as women, we have got to constantly stand in a space that our sisters are enough. Now, it doesn't mean that we don't strive to be more, do more, have more, give more. It just means that we own the space that we're in. And we stop apologizing for everything that we think is supposed to be a different way. We, as women in particular, and high achievers in general, cannot afford, it costs us too much money to beat ourselves up. I had a special moment in my life that God came to me in my face and in my ears. I've had many of those, which is I'm so grateful for. I want to share one of those particular moments, because I don't know how many of you struggle with guilt, but I had a mother who grew up Catholic, and I think she passed on Catholic guilt as my inheritance. So I thought it was noble to feel guilty, just like I've been talking about, right? If you don't feel guilty, then you didn't, care enough. So I'm sitting in this moment of meditation, and I am just ridden with guilt on some moments that some people probably not even notice. But high achievers, we also burden ourselves with a lot more than other people might. And in that moment, he came to my face like this, like in my face. Here. And he said, "Why do you doubt me? Why do you keep questioning? I did not make my children to feel guilty." I want you guys to write this down. I did not make my children to feel guilty. When you feel guilt, you block me out. When you feel guilt, you block me out. I cannot do the work within you when you are ridden with guilt. Wow. That's what the preacher was talking about. That's what he was trying to tell me. When we walk around with the guilt, we block him out. They could never step to the next space, but they stayed in the last one. How about you? I think coming from the source, I needed to listen. It's a constant battle. It's not something that comes naturally to me still. It's something that I continue to remind myself. And so, as that gift came to me, I share it because I know that he told me not only for me, but for somebody else too. And so may God give you peace in everything that you've achieved and everything that you haven't. Every moment you felt like you were enough, and every moment you would do better. May he give you peace knowing that who you were in that moment was exactly who he designed you to be. For that person in that moment built into the next one that could tell the story, and that could also be less than maybe enough for the person receiving it, so that they could attach more from a lesson of you having been perfection. So I'm going to give you 10 tips that if you were going to come to someone as your mentor, they may tell you. You can attach my voice. You can attach Mary Kay Ash's voice. You can attach anyone that you admire. Or maybe I don't pretend to be the Holy Spirit. I'm just giving you something that may be your sign. Maybe. So if you should ask this question, what should I do to be successful at this? And this could be your business. It could be in a relationship. It could be in parenthood. It could be in physical goals. of your physical body, whatever it is, the answer is going to be the same. These 10 things. Number 1, you've got to expect to be great. You've got to demand that you will be great. Number 2, avoid comparing the poor and mediocre in whatever it is you're attempting, for you will inevitably lower your standards. So avoid comparing the poor or mediocre, or you inevitably lower your standards. Instead, look for the best and mimic as much as you're capable of at that moment, knowing you are enough. Mimic as much as you're capable of in that moment to the best. Number 3, look for as many opportunities as you can to push harder than you think you can. Let's say that again. Look for as many opportunities as you can to push harder than you think you can, rather than opportunities to let yourself off the hook. Rather than opportunities to let yourself off the hook. She didn't do it, therefore. This happened, I twisted my ankle, therefore. That party canceled, therefore. I'll go out with my buddies. Look for opportunities to push yourself rather than those to let you off the hook. And number 4, give yourself grace to be imperfect at first. Give yourself grace to be imperfect at first. We compare our beginnings to others' middles or ends of their journey, and we will always come up short. Number 5, if no one around you is leading by example, step up. You are enough. If no one around you is leading by example, step up. Like Taryn is doing in her community. She's figuring it out in the process. That's what we do. I went to a Brenda Burchard event called the World's Greatest Speaker Academy, or the World's Greatest Speaker, I think it was Academy. And they shared that 6 years prior, when they first started it, they had no idea what they were going to do with the program or agenda until they arrived. And everybody was already there. Now, they planned the experts. They knew they were going to have the right people in place, the experts in their craft, and every morning early they were willing to get up, discuss what was going to happen that day, and execute. So many of us wait to have it just right before we think we can execute. But guess what? The greats act more before they're ready. Just step up. Number 6, whether someone is looking or not, always do the right thing. Whether someone is looking or not, do the right thing. Thank you all for joining us live. I see you. I see you. I'll read your comments after. Feel free to comment. I'm going to read every single one of them. Number 7, identify yourself as someone who does hard things and celebrate that fact. I do hard things. and celebrate it. So many people go, well, is it easy? Is it simple? Am I going to have no stress for it? Do you want something great in your life? I do hard things. That's who I identify with and celebrate it. When you identify with that, you push yourself into things that others wouldn't. I'm just going to give you a silly example. I hadn't been to the gym in years, and I was like, oh, I am so scared. This is in February. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to go to class. I don't know if I can keep up. These people are going to run circles around me. I'm scared I'm going to be out of breath. I'm scared I'm going to get a cramp. I'm scared I'm going to look stupid. I don't know how to do. What if I don't know, like, they go this way and I go that way? You know what I mean? I'm scared to go this thing. And I was like, I do hard things. I do hard things. I'm going to go to the class that looks like it's going to be hard because I do hard things. And I did it, and it was fine. And my stomach, the butterflies went in formation, and by the time I got going, it was okay, and I didn't do every single move. And sometimes I went that way when they went this way. But who does hard things? And then you become good at it. Number 8. When you grow past your crowd, love them where they are and find a new circle, even if it's virtually at first. When you grow past your crowd, love them where they are, meaning don't insult them. Don't tell them they're not enough, because they are living exactly where they're supposed to be right now. And it is not your job to make them feel badly or guilty or not enough because of it. That's loving them where they are and being willing to get a new crowd, even if it's virtually at first. They say it's lonely at the top, but when you have a tribe, it's really not lonely. There are spaces and places for you to flock as a part of. There's these little gaps that can happen, however, on that journey when you're leaving one flock to get to another. Like maybe your family is all used to W-2s. They work for a job, and that's their comfort zone, and there's nothing wrong with that because we absolutely celebrate and need them. It doesn't mean that they are less than. It means that that is not your space of what you were created for, and therefore we've got to love that space. And if I stay there and it's not my space, then I am not living to where I've been called. Therefore, I am under-living in my own life. And so when you first break away, it can feel like you're all alone. But you're not. You're preparing yourself for the next tribe. So when I very first started as a new consultant, I didn't have a tribe here locally until I eventually found one. But I was still in this circle that were fun, but they didn't get my dream. They made fun of it a lot. I was this Mary Kay lady now, and I was schlepping lipstick now. And so I had to be willing to say no to the now to have the yes of my future. I had to be willing to go to less of the everybody's going to this person's house to hang out and everyone's going to this happy hour, because I had a life I knew I was called for. And some of them got it and some of them never did. And one, I gotta tell you a story, she was the loudest of making fun of me, the loudest, like, oh, Roya, this is so stupid, I can't believe you're doing engineer, just didn't get it, really brilliant girl, really negative girl, and she couldn't understand, what, you're gonna, what? Yeah, that is just stupid, nobody makes it in direct sales, you're gonna leave as a director of marketing, I mean, that is stupid. 1 year later, she calls me up, so, I've been watching you and kind of noticed. By the way, I earned 3 cars in that point, in that year she's watching me. So it's 2 years in Mary Kay, but I just become a director and I owned 2 more cars, so she saw me get 3 cars. And she said, I have been really watching you, and I have a master's degree. I'm an engineer. I'm one of the only women in my craft. And you are making more money than me now. And you seem to be having a lot more fun. I would really like to do what you're doing. Well, this is a really positive circle. I'd like you to really think about if that's what you want. If you do, and you're ready for that, great. So let's hold it, table it, think about that, and then call me back. She did, and she wanted it. That doesn't happen all the time. We can't do it because we're waiting for someone to catch on. I'm just telling you, live your life. And they may get it. And if they do, they are inspired by it. And they may go on to do something totally different, but that was where you were supposed to play in their life. When you live completely authentic to your calling, even when you're afraid, even though there's no evidence. And then there was another leap in my life to top director, and this circle was small. And I was willing to make virtual recordings, back then CDs, who I listened to, until I got on my first trip and I made the friends. The tribe is there. Sometimes there's a gap of earning the circle of that tribe. Number 9, do it often. Do it often. Right now, I'm in a whole new space and place. I'm allowed to share with you, thank you, Mary Kay, that I was called to help women beyond the beauty case, about gaining pride as a female, and about feminism. What Mary Kay Ash asked us to do. If one more woman today could feel how great she really is, it would be a great day. And I'm in a whole new world of podcasting and things, lots of things. And I had a blessing of an hour-long conversation with someone, and he said to me, Roya, you just got to do it a lot. Do it often. Start small. Be willing to not be paid as much, maybe, until you're going to be paid a whole lot. Because in the beginning, you might leave 0 parties, you guys. You may exit, and it still happens to the best of us. You may exit with no prospects. You may have spent a month making calls and having nothing come from it, or 2 months, or maybe 3. Do it often, because the averages will always play out in your favor when you're looking to grow, when you see it as stepping stones and not setbacks. You guys, you need to write this. It's never what happens to you. It's the meaning that you attach to what happens to you. It's never what happens to you. It's the meaning that you attach to what happens. What time do we have?
3:33.
What is it?
3:33.
Okay, so I can add this. So when I was first coming up as a sales director in my first year as a sales director, my goal was to do $1 million my first year. I didn't know it was big or small. I just knew my national goal was, Roya, you can do $1 million. Okay, I'm doing $1 million. I had no systems in place. I had no big unit. I mean, I was just doing $1 million. And so I went to work with that vision. My banner, long unit name at that point, Roya's Reigning Court of Queens. First $1 million unit in Virginia. And we ran. That year, I outsprung 3 sales directors, had 4 free car drivers, and we did a $600,000 unit club. And I pouted. I beat myself up because it wasn't the $1 million. And I was number 2 in my national area, and I wanted to be number 1. And 2 of my 3 sales directors decided they no longer wanted to be sales directors, just a couple and 3 months after. And so I sat in the meaning of lack, lost, never. And the next year we went from 600 to 400, and I continued to pout in bad habits. And the year after that, we went from 400 to 350 as I continued to have my own self-enjoyed, miserable pity party. Then I go on to meet my now best buddy, Ari Hathaway, who in that year, her first year, did 600,000 also. And her goal was to do million. This was she came in a couple years after I did, so her first year wasn't the same year as my first year, but her first year. And we have a conversation about this when we meet for the first time in our first trips in Spain. And she said to me, so my goal was 600,000 also my first year. But it was a million, but we did 600,000. And you know what? I saw it as a stepping stone. I thought to myself, gosh, if I could do 600,000 my first year, surely I can do a million my next year. And she went on to do
a million.
Meaning is everything. So whatever you have done to this point, do you see it as a setback or a stepping stone? It's not what happens to us. It's the meaning that we attach to what happens to us. This doesn't even have to be in big goals, you guys. This can be in that 15 minutes you decided to make your first phone call and it bombed. What is the meaning? If it's going to have a meaning, why not make it a powerful one? Someone said to me before, doesn't Mary Kay brainwash you? Isn't it a cult? Well, kind of, I guess. Because here's the deal. Here's the reality that we don't all acknowledge, but it's the truth. Our brains are being washed by media every day. You turn on the news and everything is a problem. It's going to be sunny today. Get your hats out. It's going to be raining today. It's going to hail. Don't go anywhere. It's going to snow, maybe 20 feet. Everything is an emergency. Everything is negative. Watch it. So if my brain is going to be washed, then wash away in positivity. I'm going to choose the washing. Otherwise, if you don't choose, you get whatever's given to you. Same thing in life. If you don't set a goal, you're going to get whatever comes your way. And it's not going to be big. It's not going to be big. So I'm going to be intentional about my life, about my learning, and about my washing. So the last one, get up one more time. Fast. Get up one more time, fast. Over and over and over again, you will become your own unique, ultimate design when you get up one more time, fast. So when I was becoming a sales director, as a consultant, my biggest fear when I started Mary Kay was fear of failure. When you look back in my young adulthood, my young childhood as a teen, you could see the pattern of putting just enough so that I could have something to blame if it didn't make it. You know what I'm talking about? Well, it didn't happen because I chose not to do that, because I decided not to do this, because my morals are too good, because. Life happened to me. And therefore, I never quite pushed all the way. What did we learn? Everything great happens with a push. Especially when there is no evidence. That's where the gap of faith gets to come in. That's where the miracles get to happen. So I'm coming into Mary Kay completely afraid of failure. And what happens? I fail in DIQ. I get all the way to 4 months, and I don't make it. I make production, but I don't have enough people. Now, it wasn't something I couldn't have learned from. There were lessons there. I couldn't see it, and everyone around me is going, Roya, we can't believe you're not a director. Well, that's helpful. You know. So I had to do it again. You guys, that was the scariest thing at that point in my life, to not make something that I wanted so badly, to look and say whatever it was that I did or didn't do wasn't enough. Now, I wasn't holding skincare classes. Let me be clear. I earned my free car, and then once I earned a free car, I started going, oh my gosh, now I'm going to be a director. There's so much to do. I got to do so much. Can't do it all. I'm working full time and volunteering. I can't do it all. So I'm just going to go find the people. So I decided to go hunt for the people and bypass the skincare class. Well, there's no shortcuts to this, baby. It all happens at a skincare class. And I was good at finding the people, but not enough. When you're not doing skincare classes, there's not going to be enough to build a whole organization, right? I was so broken with fear that this space at the end of that 4 months, now I've been in qualification for 7 months because I earned my car first. October, November, December, January, February, March, April. It was April. No, it was June 1 that it was June 1. So I've been in qualification all that time. October, November, December, January, February, March, whatever that is. 8 months, whatever that is. I was in qualifications. You can imagine every month you're looking for a qualification finish. And I met production, but I didn't meet the people. I was broken, you guys, on my knees crying and praying, and I finally got so broken that I hadn't been on my knees in a long time, because I'm telling you, I threw my heart over into my greatest fear, and I met it head on, failure. My dad told me to quit because he loves me. My husband told me to quit because he loves me, because they don't want to see you in that kind of pain. Why are you putting yourself through this? This is not a big deal. You don't have to be great at Mary Kay. Just quit. Everybody ever heard that before? Sometimes it's okay to cry. I don't know where I found the courage to say that as a firstborn to my father. Sometimes it's okay to cry. I'm going to get up. How many times? Just one more. You don't have to think about maybe how many more. In that moment, I just need the strength for right now. And I got up one more time. And that month, I booked the cootie out of skincare classes. In fact, I booked 27 skincare classes. All 27 canceled. Now, maybe I was out of practice coaching them, but there was a lot of real deal stuff. One after the other after the other. Stuff I couldn't control. The last two, I'm sitting in my office, or my cubicle, as a director of marketing, Fairfax, SunTrust Mortgage, great boss, get a phone call. Roya, I am so sorry. I was so excited about this class, you guys. I mean, nurses was going to be our target market. 8 of them were coming. Finally, I was going to hold a party 1 week out to the end of June. I was going to have my party. I had 2 on the books left. And she said, I am so sorry. I got to tell you really, really quick. I'm running out the door. My husband's truck just turned over in a ditch. I have to cancel tomorrow. Well, of course she has to cancel tomorrow. Within 30 minutes, ring, ring. Roya. She had a thick, I can't even do it, African accent. Beautiful woman. My father, he just had a heart attack in Africa. I'm getting on an airplane. I must go see him. I cannot hold the party in 3 days. What are you going to do? Of course you can't hold the party. You can either like die at this point, cry, or laugh. And I literally sat there like, oh my gosh, that was ridiculous. That was really good. Like really. The greatest gift God could have given me was forcing another failure. Because I had to learn this very valuable lesson, that you cannot fail if you do not quit. The formula to avoiding failure is to get up one more time than you fall. That's it. It's that simple. There's not a lot of other stuff with it. You get up one more time fast. Because if you don't do it fast, you're not progressing very quickly, are you? Fast. That was the mistake I made in my 2-year sabbatical. Later, I forgot the fast part. But I did get up one more time. And when I got up one more time again, I was rewarded with being the queen, triple star, and top sales director trip for the first time. Doesn't always pan out that way. But never would pan out if you don't do what?
One more time.
Fast.
Fast. Whatever it is you are looking to conquer within yourself is truly your ultimate win. And it doesn't always come in the reward of a bauble or an accolade. What you get to be is who you will take with you and what you will pass on. And so I'm so grateful that I get to pass these things on to my children and prayerfully to you and you to somebody else and someone else and someone else. Because our legacies are the lessons that we get to tell in stories and in the becomings. Who I am today is not who I started. And who you are today is not who you're going to end up at, I hope. Because we're supposed to be human becomings. Always. Who we grow into. And the legacies we live to pass on. I didn't want to pass on my deepest fear. It was before I had children, but I knew I didn't want my kids one day to have a fear of failure. I knew that. And so I became courageous enough to hit that head on. And as an entrepreneur, we are challenged to hit our fears head on. And that could scare you or it could inspire you. I ask you to add the meaning of inspiration to that. Because I got really good at a job, and I could effectively avoid myself. In the confines of a job title, we do not have to look at ourselves very deeply. But when we are willing to hit big goals and stretch in our comfort zone to the next space, you are going to be faced with what it is you may not be ready for. And guess what? You will get ready in the process. So I ask you to say yes more often than you say no. So I'm going to end with 2 examples. I was freaking out. I had my first opportunity to speak on a podcast for Entrepreneur Weekly, who's part of Entrepreneur Magazine, just about 2 weeks ago. They reached 3 million people on Instagram. 3 million people on Facebook, 3 million people on Twitter, 1.5 million on Instagram, like a huge following. It's going to be my very first time. I start freaking out. I'm like, I don't know how to talk on those things. I don't know how they work. I could either blow it or really make it. Like, this is really, every level, there's a new devil, right? There's a new challenge. And so of all places, I'm on Instagram, and I follow Will Smith. I love Will Smith! I actually have history with him. I served him chicken wings one day. I watched the man get far away. Should I say something? Should I not? Fresh Prince. Wow. Fresh Prince. I never said anything, but I watched him eat some chicken wings. So I've been following him, and he's actually funny and very wise. And he shared a story of how he became Fresh Prince. You get a little clip on Instagram, they could go to his YouTube and watch it. And he talked about, in that moment, the moment of doubt, there will be signs for you if you watch for them in the most obscure places. So Fresh Prince story is my sign. I'm watching it, and he's saying, so all of a sudden, he's like broke, and then he gets invited on the Arsenio Hall show to talk about this one album that he's not making. He blew all his money from. Like, he made a lot of money, and then he blew it all because it was his first time ever making money. And Arsenio Hall invites him to talk about it, and then he meets this other man, I can't remember his name, who invites him to go to Quincy Jones' house. He goes to Quincy Jones' house, and Quincy Jones goes, we have an idea for a pilot. And it's, what's your name, your singing name? Fresh Prince. Yeah, that's going to be the name of the pilot. But we're going to have an audition for you right now. Clears his living room out. All the big important people are there, like producers and huge names. Every big person in that industry that Will Smith did not know anything about that time. He's a rapper that had one great moment, and now, like all these big names, all of a sudden they go, you're going to have 10 minutes to audition. Or in 10 minutes, you're going to audition. In 10 minutes. He goes, well, Quincy, I don't have any material. He goes, study the script, but I've never acted before. And Quincy Jones, he said, how about like in 3 days, I come back. He's like, listen, here's the deal. We may or may not show up in 3 days. You have every big person in the industry here. Your life could change in the next 10 minutes. You either say yes to life or you lose out on life. Which is it going to be? Say yes. His message was, use always, when opportunity strikes, like a free car. Like leadership. Like whatever it is your goal is. You always say yes. Yes changed his life because he wanted to say no for a lot of good reasons very badly. Just for a little bit. Not forever. Just for a few days. Have you ever wanted to say no just until someone's graduated, until your job releases, until the weather changes, until your ankle doesn't feel bad anymore? Yes now is what champions do. So, the next morning I'm like, I said yes. It's going to be this afternoon. I am in yoga. I go to yoga class. She never gives this message, and her message was, you are enough. You are enough. You are enough. You are. You. You and you and you and you and you. And you and you and you and you are enough. So the second attachment is, as you look upon this share today, you may think, oh my gosh, you know, the way that, how could she be so insecure about these things? Or we make up ideas about people. Who you start out to is what, not who you're going to end up as when you challenge yourself. And I've shared this before, but for those of you who haven't heard, when I started out, I want to give you a background that when I was in high school, I was so self-conscious of being in groups of people and so intimidated by that crowd that the day high school started, I looked into the cafeteria and I thought, oh my gosh, there's so much going on here. There's so many people. I don't feel like I belong in any of them. And I left. And 4 years went by, and I never ate in the high school cafeteria. I've always loved people. I've always had work ethic. But to even go sit in a room with a group of people was too overwhelming. Belonging. I didn't feel like I did. I had an eating disorder that was just a reflection of that. Not feeling like I was enough. Carried for a while. And it wasn't until I got into a tribe. This tribe. A tribe like this. Where I got to be reminded, because I pushed myself to do the things that could get noticed, small at first, with every applause, and with every bauble, with every accolade, with every diamond and car and then vacations, my confidence grew on the inside. Because I looked really confident as a hotel manager. 21 years old, running a property, acting like I was 30. Business suit, buttoned up, in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. I took DC suits to Myrtle Beach. But there was still an emptiness. And I'll tell you what, It doesn't matter if nobody knows. If you know it's there, it's worth attacking. Because once you heal that broken spot, there's no denying. People will be attracted to it. And you'll have filled that, whatever that next part of your mission is. For me, I hope that now I get to give confidence away. Because I didn't have confidence. It's a mission to give it. What is yours? Beyond your product, beyond the title of your job description, your ultimate human race mission. It's yours and yours alone. And not me or anybody is going to fill your special spot at that table. I think of you as a soul who has many attached to your back. And when you say no to growth, and when you say no to opportunity, you turn your back on all the people. They're attached to your dream, and you're alone, yours alone. And you say to them, you're just not worth it. Today can be a turning point, if you allow it to be. And it cannot be tomorrow or the day after. Because once you know, you know. Do all these things. And really it comes down to one. Say yes. And trust yourself to figure it out. You will be the success, whatever space that is, that you were born to be. Thank you for having me today. Let's finish this year powerfully. Let's rock out our lives. That's the most important thing. Yes? Yes. Yes. Are you all ready? I want you to, I love this affirmation. I love it, I love it, I love it. So stand in your spot, get steady on your 2 feet. If you can't stand with your eyes closed, you can sit on the edge of your chair. I went to a lot of Tony Robbins workshops, for example. I do not advise that for you guys to go invest in that right now. That's not amazing. You've got plenty in Mary Kay, and you're going to get everything you need and more. It's just as a national, I decided to go get that to bring it in, okay? So you're going to close your eyes. I'd like you to pick your ultimate right now, next goal, not one that's going to be someday, not one that's going to be in maybe land, but something you are going to say yes to yourself to immediately, right now. Put yourself in a specific date. It might be June 30th. It might be another time in your life. Pick it. Attach it. Get clear on it. If you have it clear, I'd like you to raise your hand with your eyes closed. You can wait for clarity in the room. Once you get that goal, raise your hand. See it in your mind. Now speak to it. Are you ready? Repeat after me. Now I am the voice.
Now I am the voice.
I will lead, not follow.
I will lead, not follow.
I will believe, not doubt.
I will believe, not doubt.
I will create, not destroy.
I will create, not destroy.
I am a force for good.
I am a force for good.
I am a leader.
I am a leader.
Defy the odds.
Defy the odds.
Set a new standard.
Set a new standard.
Step up.
Step up.
Step up.
Step up.
Step up.
Step up.
Now louder. You can put your hand wherever you'd like it. Now I am the voice.
Now I am the voice.
I will lead, not follow.
I will lead, not follow.
I will believe, not doubt.
I will believe, not doubt.
I will create, not destroy.
I will create, not destroy.
I am a force for good.
I am a force for good.
I am a leader.
I am a leader.
Defy the odds.
Defy the odds.
Set a new standard.
Set a new standard.
Step up.
Step up.
Step up.
Step up.
Step up.
Step up.
Now with everything you have, tell the universe. Now I am the voice.
Now I am the voice.
I will lead, not follow.
I will lead, not follow.
I will believe, not doubt.
I will believe, not doubt.
I will create, not destroy.
I will create, not destroy.
I am a force for good.
I am a force for good.
I am a leader.
I am a leader.
Defy
Set a new standard.
Step up.
Step up.
Step up.
Step up.
Step up.
Step up.
Give yourselves a big round of applause. Thank you all for being with us. Thank you all for being with us. Step up. Step up. Step up.